one defining moment. This wasn't just a World Cup final. It became a night football fans will never forget.
The 2026 World Cup final did not end with a celebration. It ended with a player being grabbed by the throat. Not a tackle, not a shove. A player from the losing team wrapped his hand around the neck of a player from the winning team and slammed him to the ground. The trophy hadn't even been lifted. The confetti hadn't started to fall. And Lionel Messi's Argentina, the reigning world champions, didn't end their reign with a handshake. They ended it with chaos. So let me ask the only question that truly matters after one of the most controversial World Cup finals in history. What really happened? Because if you tuned in expecting another fairy tale ending for Lionel Messi, if you expected Argentina to defend their crown, or if you expected one of the greatest World Cup finals ever played, you witnessed something completely different. You watched one team deliver a footballing masterclass, and the other suffer a complete collapse. You saw Spain play brilliant, disciplined football, while Argentina abandoned the game they were supposed to be playing. By the final whistle, one simple truth had become impossible to deny. Football won. And I'll show you exactly why. But before we break down the match itself, there's something else you need to know. Even before kickoff, FIFA had already ignited controversy. For the first time in World Cup final history, the organization introduced a full Super Bowl-style halftime show. A decision that instantly divided fans around the world. Some loved it. Many believed it had no place in football's biggest match. We'll come back to that controversy later. Because first, let's talk about the football. Or more accurately, the football that Spain played. Take a look at the numbers. They tell the entire story. Spain finished with 20 shots, 12 on target, 1.9 expected goals, 65% possession, and a remarkable 76% field tilt, meaning nearly three-quarters of the meaningful attacking action took place inside Argentina's half. Argentina? Just 2 shots. 0 on target. An expected goals value of only 0.2. In other words, the defending world champions barely created a chance. Spain's goalkeeper wasn't forced into a single save all night. Not one. Meanwhile, Emiliano Martinez produced 11 outstanding saves just to keep Argentina alive. Think about that for a second. Argentina had 0 shots on target, yet their own goalkeeper made 11 saves. That wasn't a balanced final. It was a siege. One team attacked relentlessly. The other simply tried to survive. And somehow, the score remained level. So how does a team get dominated that badly, yet somehow survive until the 106th minute? The answer is surprisingly simple. When you can't stop your opponent with football, you try to stop them any way you can. From the opening whistle, Argentina seemed determined to disrupt Spain's rhythm rather than match their quality. Just 14 minutes into the match, Alexis Mac Allister flew into Dani Olmo with a reckless late challenge that sent the Spanish midfielder crashing to the turf. No yellow card. Only minutes later, teenage sensation Lamine Yamal was dragged, clipped, and brought down again during another cynical challenge. Once again, no booking. Then came another heavy tackle from Lisandro Martinez. Moments later, substitute Leandro Paredes entered the match and immediately raised the temperature, crashing into Rodri and sparking a heated confrontation between both teams. It wasn't an isolated incident. In fact, Spain had expected it. Before the final, defender Aymeric Laporte had openly warned that Argentina were a team that constantly left little messages through their challenges. They weren't simply trying to win the ball. They were trying to frustrate their opponents, to slow the game, to break their rhythm, to drag them into an emotional battle. And if that strategy sounded familiar, it's because the world had already seen it. During the semi-final against England, Argentina followed almost the exact same blueprint. There were late tackles, needless confrontations, players surrounding the referee, verbal exchanges after nearly every whistle. The objective wasn't just to play football. It was to get inside England's heads. That approach worked then. But Spain had done their homework. They refused to lose their composure. While Argentina searched for reactions, Spain kept searching for passes. While tempers rose, Spain kept the ball moving. And as the minutes passed, one thing became increasingly obvious. The referee allowed far more physical play than many expected. Several heavy challenges went unpunished. The first yellow card didn't arrive until deep into the first half despite repeated reckless fouls. That decision quickly became one of the biggest talking points among fans and analysts watching around the world. But here's what ultimately mattered most. Spain refused to let any controversy distract them. They didn't argue. They didn't retaliate. They didn't abandon their game plan. Instead, they trusted their football. Pass after pass. Attack after attack. They forced Argentina to chase shadows. And every minute that passed made one thing clearer. No amount of gamesmanship could make up for the difference in quality. Football, not frustration, was deciding this final. And Spain never lost sight of that. Then came the moment that changed everything. Argentina lost more than control of the match. They lost control of themselves. Enzo Fernandez had already been walking a dangerous line. After sarcastically applauding the referee, he received a yellow card for dissent. It was a warning, one that should have calmed him down. Instead, it only made things worse. As normal time drifted toward a penalty shootout, Fernandez launched into another reckless challenge. Studs first. Straight through Spain's teenage defender, Pau Cubarsí. The young defender was sent flying. There was no debate. No controversy. The referee immediately reached for a second yellow card. Then came the red. Argentina were down to 10 men. It was a moment of complete frustration. A decision that stunned teammates, fans, and commentators alike. Already being outplayed in every major statistic, Argentina had now made their task almost impossible. Enzo Fernandez became only the third Argentine player ever to be sent off in a World Cup final. A record no nation wants to own. With the extra man, Spain sensed their opportunity. Wave after wave of attacks crashed toward the Argentine goal. At one point, Spain thought they had finally broken through. The ball found the back of the net, only for the goal to be ruled out after a foul was given in the build-up. Argentina survived, but only temporarily. By the end of the first period of extra time, Spain had already attempted 19 shots. Argentina still hadn't managed a single effort. The pressure became relentless. Every attack felt closer than the last. Even the normally composed 19-year-old Lamine Yamal began to show signs of frustration after repeated cynical fouls. Penalties were beginning to feel inevitable. And if the match reached a shootout, it would have been an incredibly cruel ending for the team that had dominated almost every minute of the final. But football has a way of rewarding persistence. Finally, the breakthrough arrived. The clock showed the 106th minute. Pedro Porro floated a perfectly weighted cross toward the far post. Nico Williams rose above the defender and nodded the ball back across goal. Waiting in the perfect position was substitute Ferran Torres. One touch. One powerful finish. Emiliano Martinez stretched with everything he had. But this time, even he couldn't stop it. The ball flew into the net. Spain won. Argentina 0. After more than 100 minutes of relentless pressure, the wall had finally collapsed. Spain's 20th shot had delivered the goal they deserved. It wasn't luck. It wasn't controversy. It was the reward for patience, discipline, and relentless attacking football. At last, the breakthrough belonged to the better team.